What happened there? That was very bizarre. For some reason we were live and then we became not live. That was strange. For some reason, YouTube randomly stopped the stream. How long has that been the case?
You've only been streaming for 30 seconds.
Oh my god, I've been sat here talking to myself for the whole time. I am so sorry, everyone. I had no idea. I've only just noticed it because, like, it said go live in the top corner, and I was like, what? It wasn't live? How weird.
According to YouTube, you've only been live for the last minute.
Well, everyone, sorry about that. I will go for a little bit longer at the end to make up for it. So I will start everything again. Okay, so welcome back to Arizona. Hello, everyone. Sarcastic, Melissa, Atifa, Smaug, Rob, Wancha Frog, everybody. Hello, welcome back to the channel. And yeah, so last time we were here, we were building the Spinosaurus enclosure. As you can see, I've now connected it to the rest of the park. Built ourselves a nice little seating area down here, which I'm quite proud of, actually. With the Spinosaurus skull and skeleton. Also given them some markers and stuff. So yes, today we are going to be working on the big lagoon, and there is a reason for this. Basically, the next animal enclosure goes in here. This gap between sort of the area where the lagoons are and the area where the path is. So we need to have completed the lagoon area to kind of know how big we can make this place in general. So that's why we're focusing on it today. I did a little bit of homework. As you can see, we've got a nice walkway with lit obelisks and plant life. We've got a large sort of visitor center style structure here, which is going to have lots of planting and statues around it. And then we've got the lagoon here, and basically these two path sections are going to connect down into the lagoon down each side of the lagoon here. So yeah, I've actually moved the lagoon. Last time it was kind of up here, but I had a look back at the park I built the first time around and noticed that actually it was in line with these two rocks in the background. So I've moved it across a bit. Doing so removed a little bit of the sort of artificial mountain area, so I'm going to create a sort of valley area in here instead. I think that's all the homework I did. Not much has changed. Oh, and I have also kind of blended in the little rock roof for our exhibit here, given it some vegetation and such around it, given it some rocky supports, and as you can see, I've completely finished this enclosure here, put plenty of planting and stuff in it. So yeah, it's all finished, this particular enclosure down there. Something I would notice is I am starting to see some performance problems creep in. So I may have to consider closing the park soon, as we get 2 helicopters coming our way. The British are coming! Anyway. Anyway. I'm good, Melissa. How are you doing? I'm going to carry on with the homework. What I'm doing is I'm putting the amenity blocks in here, a food and a drink in here, and then we'll plaza the rest of it, and then we'll figure out how to connect the pathway to down here. That is the aim. I can't believe I was sat here talking to myself that whole time. It's so embarrassing. In other news, me and Dane and Fallout have just finished recording our first Tea with Tricor as a 3. So that'll be coming up on the channel not next week, but the week after next, I think, if I can get the editing done. And like I said last time, they're going to be just like our sort of podcasty discussion, talky sort of videos. So if you just stick them on in the background and listen to them while you're doing other stuff. That's the aim of them. And we have a very interesting conversation for our first one, which I think your guys will have fun in the comment sections of. Let's just be like that. Playing Jurassic World Evolution 2 after playing a whole day of playing Jurassic World Evolution 1 is not healthy. I keep thinking that space is how... Watching back my day 1 stream for Jurassic World Evolution 2, I was constantly making the same mistake. So you're not the only one, dude. Ugh, why would you do that? So we're just going to plaza the whole area, and then we'll use fencing and that sort of thing to divide this off from the rest of the park. There we go. And yes, I had to leave Evo's stream quite early, so I didn't get a lot of the... I didn't get to see almost half of what was all being discussed, but I hope you guys had fun. I stayed relatively quiet today because I'm very much not optimistic about the film. So I thought it was better just to stay quiet today and let folks, have their fun and speculate and stuff, and not try and bring anyone down, as it were. Right, there we go. So, the question is how we connect up here to down here. Let's grab the terrain brush and draw in some ideas. Now, we could just sort of curl it round, stick close to the edge, and just sort of go straight down and connect it to sort of here. Or we could have a more gradual decrease in height and go around a bit wider and then connect it sort of down here. And that would give us a bit more sort of room to do sort of a gradual decrease in height. But then we have a lot of wasted space here. But the upside is we could also turn this into a sort of viewing area for the animal that's going to be in here. Or animals, I should say. So, actually thinking about it, I think it makes more sense to do like a gradual ramp down into here and do a kind of curved path. The question is getting it to be exact on both sides. I am also aware that this does also look like a set of ovaries. I'm sorry. I think that's roughly symmetrical if we follow those guidelines. So, what I'm going to do is actually put the path in first. So we've gone up another one, up another one. I'm just going to put the path in, and then we will put in the ramp. So up one, up another one, switch it to curve. It's not quite perfect, but I think we can get away with that. I mean, where that's joining the path, kind of where that banner is. This is joining the path, kind of where that banner is. I think we can get away with that. What I do want to do is make this slightly wider, though. I want to kind of stick to the double width paving that we've been using throughout the park, so it's going to be a bit annoying connecting it up to here, but we'll do what we can. Since this is going to be mostly annoying, tedious path work, shall we have a discussion about something? So obviously, I've been in the process of writing my what is going to be a massive retrospective review of Jurassic World Evolution 2, like I did for the first game. And I've been in the process of rewatching back a load of stuff from its initial release and everything else. So I'm curious, you know, just as a sort of conversation starter, who among you brought Jurassic World Evolution to the day it came out? So you either had, you know, pre-order, or you brought it on the day of its release. I'm just curious how many of you were sort of day oneers, as it were. So one chuffed frog, Kairu pre-ordered. Interesting. Atifa pre-ordered as well. Was there a sort of specific reason? Oh, Monster's already got there first, but you know, was there a specific reason that you pre-ordered if you did? So Monster says because he's a sucker for the Lost World stuff. I'm curious, Monster, how often do you use it? As a creator, I buy it on release day. Yeah, that was the same for me. I actually discussed that in the first part of the review. The fact I brought it on pre-order merely because YouTube. I actually discussed that. I loved it because I loved Jurassic World Evolution 1, even if it was a bad game. Mostly pre-ordered for the Lost World stuff too. I don't use it much, but probably should. Okay, interesting. So, none of... I think is it fair to say that none of you pre-ordered because of, say... oh, we're going to have lagoons and aviaries? Or none of you pre-ordered because you... like, what I'm trying to get at is, like, how big of an effect was the new features that the game had? Like, how big of an impact did that have on your purchasing choice? going to be really difficult to make a gradual... Pre-ordered for the Lost World stuff. Also convenience. Hello, Jurassic Jaws. Lagoons and aviaries was a part of it, but if it was just that, I probably would have just waited until Christmas. Seeing how better Jurassic World Evolution 2 would be, that also made me pre-order it. Okay, so for some of you, the new stuff, like, was pretty important then. Here comes the interesting question. How many of you were disappointed day one? Or maybe week one, maybe disappointment didn't occur for some time, but how many of you felt some sort of disappointment with Jurassic World Evolution 2, and when did it creep in, if it did creep in? Lagoons and aviaries launched pretty sadly. They did. Would you say you were disappointed with that? Not really disappointed. It canes more with the next months. When you completed the campaign. Yes, Maggie, that seems to be something quite common. I eventually was disappointed. I had the rush of excitement at the start, but then it slowly set in. I will say I do regret the pre-order, mostly because it was almost $100 Canadian. Fucking hell. Really? It was nearly $100 Canadian to do the pre-order. Oof. Big oof. That's outrageous. Really? $100? Wow. How could they justify that? It was disappointing at the beginning. Yeah, the sandbox issues, I think, were a very big problem for a lot of people. Looking back at the sort of day one reviews from folks, a lot of them criticized the sandbox features, or lack of sandbox features. Should have waited till Christmas or Easter. Do you think if the game had come out with Dominion, say a few months later, given sort of the free updates and stuff that came in that time between November and sort of March, do you think the game should have come out with the film and just been, you know, pushed back? Do you think that would have been a better course of action? It's not a perfect like curved line, is it? But I think that's okay. I kind of dig it. I dig it. As long as they're, because this will be this exhibit will be below ground level as well, so this will be even taller than that. So you'll get a really good view as you come down here. Or maybe we should, for this side, it's okay going down this side because you've got the mountain, but for this side, maybe we should have it stay higher for longer. And then start coming down sort of here. In the long run, yes. Still no, I would say the final version we got was barely worth the release price. Oh. Interesting. We should have gotten what we have now at launch. Yeah, that's better. I prefer that one. Prefer that. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of I'm kind of with you there, One Chuff Frog. The fact that we had to pay for the Dominion content when it was quite clearly cut out of the base game, I think some of it should have been for free. And I remember saying this at the time, like, I'm okay with paying for some of it, but I think some of it should definitely have been for free. Like, I think they should have done what they did with Fallen Kingdom, given us, say, the animals for free, and then put everything else in the DLC. Because the people that hardcore like the game will buy the DLC for the buildings and that anyway. So this area, I'm just going to turn into like a bit more of this mountain. Just give it a bit more of a ridge line there. I actually quite like the way that looks, with the sort of strange like valleys and gullies either side, because it looks very similar to what we've got over here. And then on this side, this one we will leave empty. What I might try and do is have like I might try and do something with water over here. I'll have to figure that one out. Maybe use the placeable water again to create like a little artificial sort of area here, and then have a waterfall going into this exhibit here. I Okay, so that actually gives us quite a bit of space down here. A lot more than I was anticipating. You have a question? Feel free to put it in the comments, in the chat, Melissa, sorry. Yeah, we had to pay for demeaning content 3 times, which is just ridiculous. So one of the interesting things I found when I was... So I'm currently script writing part or chapter 2 of the video, which is the day 1 experience and the day 1 reviews and that sort of thing. And what really surprised me was looking on Steam and the Frontier forums, there was not a single positive review. And by positive, what I mean is overwhelmingly positive. Like, even on Steam, like, all the reviews that are under as positive, you actually read them, and it's actually kind of, having read them, it's kind of made me like, how can you say that this is a positive review? Because actually inside this positive review, all you've done is criticize the game, like, to the max. Like, there was one, hang on, let me find it, because I actually sent it, I sent 3 to on Evo's Discord, because they made me laugh. Okay, so these are genuine lines from positive Steam reviews. Okay, so one of them said, the game is basically just a big DLC from the first game with some extra mechanics, new dinosaurs, better graphics, and a new side story with the title of campaign slapped on it. Doesn't sound overwhelmingly positive to me, does it? The next one really made me laugh. The game looks beautiful and definitely has potential with help from mods if you're on PC. If you're in console, I'm really sorry. How can you... I don't think it's entirely fair to say a game is positive because it can be modded. Like, that's just... You know, I don't think you can really use the fact it can be modded as an excuse for that. Yeah, it's rich. Yeah, just I don't think that really applies as a positive review. And then the last one, I think, potentially is the funniest. If you liked the first one, you'll probably like this one as well. It's more of the same with a few improvements, as well as some terrible game mechanics. and they were all like that. Like, every single one of the positive reviews I looked at that were, and you know, I mean ones that were more than 1 or 2 lines, actual well-written proper reviews. They were all like that. Just, here's all the things wrong with the game and elements that I hate. And I think what it demonstrates, actually, my flatmate Saber came up with a very good comment, is that all the reviews were not necessarily positive. They were positive in outlook. You know, they were, the game has potential and could become good in the future, but was not necessarily good there and then. Which I think is a really good point. I mean, if you look at the Frontier forums for the first week of the game's launch, by Jingo, they are bad. There is so many complaints. There's an entire thread of bugs and glitches. Like, there were some bugs and glitches that I have never seen in my game that were being reported. Some of them very, very funny. And it's just a stream of complaints and problems. So yeah, looking through all that for my day one, what was day one like for Jurassic World Evolution 2? I think in the end, it wasn't good. day one and week one was not good. I also did a little bit of maths. I'm not going to spoil all of the video because obviously then there's no point you guys watching it. But I did a little bit of maths, and I discovered that if you compare Jurassic World Evolution 1 launch day to Jurassic World Evolution 2 launch day, Jurassic World Evolution 2 had a drop, so a decrease in day one peak player count of 71%. Hello 21 Sigma. So in comparison to Jurassic World Evolution 1, the day one player count, which is the most players the game will ever have, was 71% lower than Jurassic World Evolution 1. And if you look at the 6-month average player counts, they're 60% lower for Jurassic World Evolution 2 than they were for Jurassic World Evolution 1. Which is one heck of a decrease. Like, a massive drop. Oh god. So the fact that Huangosaurus got locked in the Deluxe Edition is just preposterous. I do talk about that in part 1 of my review, or chapter 1, I suppose. I call it part 1 because I was going to release them as separate videos, but Evo suggested I release it as one long video essay. So kind of the parts have become chapters now. You never actually brought the Deluxe pack, One Chuffrog. Any particular reason? Just not particularly fond of the animals in it? Too expensive for the content. Yeah, I do kind of agree with you there, One Chuff Frog. Yeah, Monster, you raise a really good point, and I was actually thinking about this when I was writing my thoughts on the Deluxe Edition stuff. And how limited it was. We basically got 5 animals, one of which was being held hostage from the base game, being Huangosaurus. Which I still do not understand why. Actually, let's talk about that for a minute. Why do you think Huangosaurus was put in there? I have some theories of my own, but I'm curious to know what you guys think is the reason. Because it seems really, really bizarre, and I cannot figure it out. For sure. Well, 21 Sigma, once Jurassic World Evolution 1 Sandbox was brought to all maps and it expanded, you could have infinite money on all maps for Sandbox, not just Nublar. Never really fond of Hoengosaurus, so I never thought about it. Well, think about it now, One Chuffrog. Like what was the motivation putting Hwango in the Deluxe edition? People who don't want to lose content between games will be incentivized to pay. That's a very cynical outlook, Atifa, but somehow it sounds like it's probably what exactly happened. What do people think down here? Should we have like a couple of different attraction buildings, like the cinema and mini golf and that sort of thing, or do something different with them? Because they're definitely big enough for an attraction building, as it were. What other buildings could we put in there? I don't want to put hotels in there because hotels will be going on. So the hotels will be sort of over here at the back of the park. So they have a nice view of the desert. Has Hoengosaurus ever been in any of the franchise's media? No. It's never been in any of the franchise's media. That's just a bit too big. We had to pay for 2 recycled models, Sinoceratops with a sail, and a good Ankylodocus model. I think it is probably what Atifa said. I think it is probably related to them wanting to make sure that there was a reason for people to purchase the Deluxe Edition, and I think locking some content from the first game in it was probably a good way of sort of forcing people's hands. Think it will happen again in Jurassic World Evolution 3? Yes. Because unfortunately, I think we can see a trend forming. Jurassic World Evolution 2 launched without Hwango. That was in the Deluxe Edition. Launched without the hybrids that were then sold back to us. Planet Coaster 2 launched with a DLC, a pre-release DLC, which included stuff from the first game. The next DLC they've just released also included stuff from the first game that they've cut out. So I think I definitely see a trend that this is what is likely to happen with Jurassic World Evolution 3. Is that they will probably double down on it. I reckon the pre-order Deluxe Edition may probably also have more Jurassic 2 or Jurassic 1 content locked away in it than this game did. I will be very surprised if every dinosaur and animal we currently have is in the game. I do kind of like this building, but I just it just doesn't really have a purpose here. I haven't used this building in any of my parks because it's a very awkward sort of shape, so it doesn't really work in a lot of parks. And yeah, it's a nice building. It's just a really awkward shape. Hello, Draken, and yes, I do use mods. Can this level of terrain altering be done in the base game? In terrain editing wise, yes. It's not particularly easy. The mods make the level of terrain editing easier, but this level of terrain editing is definitely doable in the base game. You just have to have a lot of patience. You might also find some of your sort of cliff lines are not as sort of straight edged. They're probably a little smoother. But this sort of thing is doable, definitely. Just to a different level. I think I'm very torn of either putting. I'm just going to put one down. I'm just going to show you guys what my two thoughts are for these areas. Either put down one of these large attraction buildings, obviously modify the outsides and everything else, or put down one of these Jurassic Park style innovation centers, which I didn't realize is actually based on some very early concept art for something else. Like when I was looking for something for my video that's due out this next Wednesday. Yeah, there was some old concept art of this. It's actually based on something that was going to be in one of the films. Kind of like the JP buildings. Center in combo with garden around the edge. Okay. What if I gave you a third option and suggested we could also potentially have the balloon ride in here? Because I do want to use the balloon ride in this park somewhere. We could use these as use one as a sort of station for the balloon ride and use the other for the innovation center. That being said, I kind of want the balloon ride area to be out of the way. Snap the balloon ride. Yeah, good point. I'm gonna save. That's a good point. Because this one is slightly larger over here. So we could have the innovation center on this side and have the balloon tour ride starting here. And then we can have it go all around sort of the back of the map, down to here, across through here, around here, and back. My only problem with the balloon rides is that they're still limited to the system that the conventional stuff uses, where it is you have one every set number of meters. And I don't really like that. I would rather just have one. I don't want multiple balloons. I only want one. Because if you have too many balloons, it starts looking like the airspace is overly crowded. So actually, thinking about it, I'm not sure I'm going to have balloon rides in this park at all. I've just gonna talk myself out of having the thing I tried to talk myself into having. Okay, well, in that case then, we will use those Jurassic Park Innovation Center sort of things. I am going to have them slightly off center line. And I want there to be plenty of space around it to do some gardens. So 1. And... oh, crikey. So that was kind of... there. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Most of the returning species in JWE3 will probably be canon species and the best of the last game. That's what I'm assuming they will do. I'm assuming that they are going to introduce that they'll have the sort of the ones that they know people really like. And then the others will be later down the line or in DLCs, dinosaur packs, that sort of thing. Sorry for suddenly going quiet, just wanting to make sure I get these connected up perfectly. I think I'm going to curve them. And we will have a little bit of a gap. Yeah. I just looked at it. The Jurassic World 3 Deluxe... oh, Jurassic World Evolution Deluxe Pack had 5 dinosaurs. I guess they threw Huango in there to make Jurassic World Evolution 2 5 as well. That way they didn't disrupt the pack that came out 2 weeks later. Potentially... I do think it was potentially that the Frontier kind of looked at the 5 animals they already had, the 4 that they already had. Because there are some that I think were a really quick choice, as it were. I think, like, Attenborosaurus, I reckon, was probably, like, that was... I suspect that the pack probably started with Megalo, because it's, like, the most important dinosaur ever, and Attenborosaurus, because Richard Attenborough. I reckon those were the 2 first dinosaurs that... or animals, I should say, rather. I reckon those were the first 2 animals that were kind of, like, confirmed for the pack. And then I reckon all the others came after. And I reckon Huango was the last. And I reckon it was there because I think they couldn't come up with a 5th animal. Like, I'm pretty sure all of us could come up easily with a 5th animal that could have been in there. I mean, there are tons of animals that I think could have easily gone in there. Tojangasaurus would have been a good choice. Yeah, I mean, it's the only other stegosaur that's kind of missing apart from Myaraja now. Myragea. I never quite know how to pronounce that one. Decentrurus, yeah, that could also. There's also another stegosaur that we haven't had yet. That was good. Something I find silly every time I think about it is the fact that they made us wait a while for Microceratus. Yeah, that's another really weird choice. Like, why wasn't it just in the other Dominion stuff? Like, what was the thinking there? Did they just not have a model of it to use until then? Or was it another case of we know people have wanted this because it's like the last animal that we haven't had from the minion, so we're going to deliberately put it in this paid DLC to force people to buy it? Is that the only reason? Because it seems very bizarre to have it in that park manager's collection. Again, I could think of so many other animals that I would rather have had in that pack. Animals that people have asked for much longer as well. Like, I had that argument with... so I put on Reddit that I did not care about the Segisaurus. And someone got really upset that I was insulting Segisaurus. And they were like, loads of people have asked for it. And I was like, no, they haven't. I haven't seen a single person on Reddit in months and months and months of being on it that begged to have Segisaurus come to the game. I saw the occasional post about it being like a novel species that was missing from... not a novel species, a species that is quote-unquote canon, even though it's not technically. I mean, we never saw it on screen, it wasn't canon. It was only ever on one piece of like a prop that we never even saw on screen. So, you know, it's beta canon, if that. And I never saw anyone desperately begging to have it come to the game. So the sudden defense was just very bizarre. I could think of so many animals I'd rather have than Segisaurus. Segi fanboy. I mean, I don't think he was necessarily a fanboy of Segisaurus, which is the funny thing. I think it literally was this idea that I was saying a dinosaur which is quote-unquote canon to the films should always automatically have been in the game. Which I don't necessarily agree with, because I don't think just because an animal is quote-unquote canon necessarily means it is, you know, you should definitely always have it. Like, I think being canon is not always necessarily a good reason for it to be there, basically. What's happened back here? Ah, I see. We might need to adjust the angling of this one slightly. I mean, as a big Star Trek fan, like the question of what is and is not canon, and how, you know, films and shows and everything respond to it is always an element of Star Trek stuff. So I'm kind of used to having these conversations about canonicity in that. It just really surprised me that how desperately this guy was defending Segisaurus. And I'm like, how often do you use it, mate? Have you used it in a park build at all? Like, that's just my thoughts. Inostransevia would have been better than Segi, easily. Easily better. More impressive, too. Hello, Joshua. I mean, I could think of so many actual dinosaurs I would rather have than Segi, you know. Argentinosaurus seems to be a good possibility. Like, if that park manager's collection was supposed to be for the species that we were all desperate for, well, I've seen Argentinosaurus mentioned so many times. Why wasn't that in there? I've seen Hapsiogopteryx mentioned many times. I've never seen Thanatos Dracon mentioned. Which is why I know this is going to sound conspiracy theory. I don't buy and I don't believe the idea that that pack was, oh, this is a pack of animals the community has been asking for. Because that's what they told us. I don't believe that at all. I think they came up with that line based off we're having Megalodon because people keep asking for it. Everything else was just random shit that they threw in and had nothing to do with the community at all. The only one that did was the Megalosaurus. Megalodon, even. Whoops, getting my dinosaurs mixed up. I actually want to put... Do I continue with the log walls or along this side? Or do I switch to maybe the hedgerows? No, we'll stick... We'll... Actually, no, we'll stick with the low wall. Not that one. Short chain link, low fence. Is it low fence 2 is the one I've been using? Yeah. Low fence 2 is like the one I'm using to sort of protect guests from falling into dinosaur areas. But then that will spoil their view of the animals here. Screw it, we'll continue with the logs. It might look a bit boring, but we'll continue with the logs. I actually really quite enjoyed the Doctor Who DL, or rather, not necessarily enjoyed. I was a little optimistic for the Doctor Who DLC for that game, because, like, you had those, like, the memo notes in the first game, and it always felt to me like they were trying to lead up to this, like, big intrigue story, and I thought the Doctor Who DLC was going to kind of play off that a bit, and unfortunately it didn't, and I was quite disappointed. Also, don't tell anyone don't tell Evo I said this, but Spinoraptor is overrated. I think Spinoraptor is actually a really, really boring hybrid. Because all it is it's just a raptor with a little sail on its back And I think that's a really boring interpretation. I just think it's such a boring animal. Like, Ankylodocus might have been ugly, but at least it was a bit more interesting. And Stegoceratops might look bizarre, but again, I think it's visually very interesting. But, Spinoraptor I just think is so cheap. It's just take a raptor, stick a big sail on it. Okay. Seji is just another tiny species that you won't see and starves itself to death. Yeah, exactly. It's my biggest problem with a lot of the species they introduced in this game, that a lot of them are on the smaller side, and I honestly do believe we need more smaller species, but we also need a way to display them that actually works. Because at the moment we don't have that bit. We don't have the display that works, and as a result, it's just a bit tiresome to have them in the parks. Okay, it seems to me that we need to have some connection here. That's fine. Because basically the idea is that there will be a path running up these sides of the lagoons so there'll be like viewing towers on these endpoints here and here. That's the idea. I think we'll also probably have a viewing dome or two in this lagoon, since it's a very big one. And I'm thinking there'll probably be an entrance to the viewing domes down here. There'll be one on one side, one on the other. I disagree. I love the design of it, even though it's a mash of Raptor and Spino. I don't think it's a terrible design. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's awful. Like the first game's Ankylodocus. Ooh, the first game's Ankylodocus was awful. But I think the Spinoraptor is a little overrated. But I think when it comes to like what dinosaurs you think are interesting and not, I think it's a very personal like question. Because for me, I think there are so many dinosaurs in this game I would just get rid of because I hate them. Maiasaura, for example. Like, just get rid of it. I don't see the point of it. But I know Maiasaura has a lot of... I don't want to use the word fanboy. Proponents. You know, there's a lot of people that are very much for Maiasaura. So... you know, I think it is a very personal sort of opinion. It's actually why I kind of struggle with why I'm kind of struggling a bit with this review I'm writing, because there is this kind of a disconnect where, like, what is considered a really serious problem for one gamer in a game is not considered necessarily a serious problem for somebody else. Like, to me, Jurassic World Evolution 2 Day 1, the fact it had so many bugs and glitches and graphical errors, that to me is a really, really important point and a really, really big negative. But I know for a lot of people like Evo, Best in Slot, they didn't even mention that in their reviews at all, anywhere. Whether they had them or not, I don't know, but they never even mentioned it. So I can only assume it just wasn't important for them. And I think that's one of the inherent problems that I'm encountering with this review I'm doing is like you know, what is important to me is not going to be important to anybody else, probably. Well, there's going to be a lot of difference, I think. So I suspect I might get a lot of kickback if the video gets watched that much. I suspect it won't be a massively popular video. That being said, if Jurassic World Evolution 3 gets something in the time when I'm doing it, then that might kind of artificially bump up the watch figures slightly. Okay, yeah, I'm feeling quite good about how this is looking so far. This is coming along. I would have preferred if Frontier used the original Stegoceratops from Jurassic World. Yeah, in fact, during my, I think it was the video I did on the what my ideas for the chaos theory maps would have been. One of my suggestions was that if you 5-star the Jurassic World chaos theory, you unlock a variant model of the Stegoceratops, which has the it uses the Nasuto rig. Because it does look better. Sorry, like I say, I am still recovering from my chest infection, and as someone with asthma, it's going very sluggishly. Right. Now we need to sort of separate off these amenities from the path. Now, what kind of separator should we use? We've obviously got those low log walls, which they do curve quite nicely. So I suppose we could keep using them. The hedgerows also curve quite nicely. Actually, let's replace... I want a bit more of a garden-esque feel for the area around these, so I think we'll go with the hedgerows. I think that looks better. We'll keep the wood on this side, but I think the hedgerows on that side works a lot better. Yeah, that's nicer. Definitely nicer. You know, I have said this before, but I'll say it again. I was never against the hybrids. Like, honestly, and I honestly wouldn't be sad to see them come back in Jurassic World Evolution 3. Oh, you pain in the ass. Like, I think my problem with the hybrids is that they were used in the film series so poorly that as like as an entity for storytelling, they were just used so bad that I didn't see a point in them. But I'm not necessarily against them being in the next Evolution game. And I wouldn't even necessarily be against them bringing more hybrids in to the game. Like, there are some really cool other hybrids that I think would work really well. Paramoloch is one, which is a combination of Parasaurolophus and Stygimoloch. So it's like kind of a smaller hybrid, and I actually adore the way that it looks. I think it looks fantastic. You're not really creating the curve I want you to there. Jurassic World Alive designs are hit and miss. Yeah, like I say, the Paramoloch I think is really cool, but there are some which I think are really, really bad. There are some that are like, why have you done this? Oh, the snapping. The snapping. It's like an angry shark. What the smeg? I hate how aggressive the snap is on the fencing. Seriously, if there's a quality of life improvement we have to hope they add to the next game, is getting rid of that horrifically angry angle snap. I kind of want there to be just a little bit of fence there. And maybe have this fence go up to there. I think that's acceptable. The dome-headed Smilodon, yeah. Matthias, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Like, what is it you're... Indotaurus? What on earth is that? So this is this will... Okay, I'm actually curious. So, open question for you guys. If Jurassic World Evolution 3 does not have Ice Age creatures at launch, would you be disappointed? Like, disappointed to the point of, like, seriously, like, considering not buying the game. Like, I mean, like, the level of disappointed of, like, fuck Jurassic World Evolution 3. Not disappointed. You'd be happy, One Shot Frog. A little, but only if they don't include proper amphibious species. Okay, so let's adjust the question slightly then. What feature, any feature that's been relatively discussed quite often, like, what feature would you say is, like, your make and break for Jurassic World Evolution 3? Like, if it didn't have it, you'd be kind of like, I might not necessarily buy this on launch. Like, what is the one feature that's going to be, like, the make or break? I will pre-order if it has this. Or, like, if it doesn't have this, I won't be getting it pre-order. No hitboxes on decorations. I sense you may be disappointed there, One Shot Frog. I don't see them changing that anytime soon. No proper semi-aquatics. Yeah, I can certainly kind of see why for that one. Walking pterosaurs would have... Oh, so if pterosaurs didn't walk still, that would have you seriously questioning the game. If it didn't have aviaries and lagoons, Draken, I don't think there's any chance of them removing aviaries and lagoons. It would be really weird for them not to have them, considering they are in the first game. By the way, folks, there's like loads of you watching, but only 5 likes on the video. So this is your de facto, do the YouTuber stuff, please, and smack the like button and subscribe if you're new and everything else. It does help. It helps this little channel combat that horrible algorithm. If they don't have more or better park building mechanics... True, game companies have done stupider things before. That is a very good point. Better lagoon and aviary customization. I mean, I wouldn't be that bothered if aviaries stayed as they were, but I definitely would be a little bit miffed if lagoons stayed as they are, just because there is some really obvious improvements that they need. If they fumble I don't think Frontier is in serious risk of going bankrupt. Planet Zoo is still making them a lot of money. And well, actually, saying that, like, okay, so Planet Zoo makes them a lot of money. Jurassic World Evolution 1 is still making them a surprisingly large amount of money. Jurassic World Evolution 2 is still making them money. Elite Dangerous, that's flatlined, so the costs of them running that game are now equivalent to the income from that game, so that's not making them money anymore. Planet Coaster 2, we'll have to wait and see. I think this looks really, really good. I'm actually really happy with how this is turning out. let's head back up here. So because obviously what the aim is for this is to have little gardens and statues around the outside. What statues shall we use down here for the front? Like, you're walking down here, you're probably going to see a statue on either side. I'm thinking something, bracky maybe, or a big sauropod, or maybe we could use that for the sides. Maybe something a little smaller. Let's have a look. Let's have a, like, I'm not saying necessarily we use it, but acro. So, acro I think looks kind of good. Actually. Something acro or Alberta sized. Let's actually put a big sauropod there. Yeah, I think that will definitely look better on this side. Yeah, I'm thinking... That being said, like, the smaller little herbivores might be nicer to have. Where is lovely Penta, maybe? Triceratops. Where are trikes? I think trikes. We use, like, trikes. The only annoyance is we can't have one looking the other way. But if we have a Taurosaurus instead, it's a similar size, similar animal. So you can have like two different ceratopsians guarding that area there. I'm definitely thinking big sauropody along the sides. I think we use brackies. We'll have a normal brachy and a Jurassic Park 3 brachy there. And I think we'll have Alamo on the other side. And then at the back, let's see. Something that fits in with the lagoon theme. I think I'm going to use that for... So I want to have a couple of statues around here. So I think I'll use the lagoon statues around that area. How about... Actually, let's use the carnivores in the back here. So let's have. Actually, no. Okay, let's have acro overlooking that path there. Let's have. Where is Kaka? Let's have. Kaka. Cerato. Oh, let's have Cerato actually. Let's have Cerato overlooking the path that side. And then in here, let's have... Let's try and do like a combo. So let's have Euoplocephalus and... Raptor. And some raptors. And then on this side, let's do, I think, a stego, because that's similar to Euoplo. And I think, Spinoraptor statue is nice, but doesn't really suit. Could go for like Tarbo. Utah, maybe? Let's do Utah, actually. That looks quite good. Let's have like a couple of Utahs around. Let's like move that around a bit. Let's have like that there, and that a bit more here, and that a bit over. That looks good, I think. Oh, the Dominion Aloe. That's actually a good idea. Let's get rid of the Cerato. Aloe. Dominion Aloe. Yeah, let's have the Dominion Aloe down here instead of the Cerato. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And then basically all of the plants, because I don't think the brushes are going to work very well down here. They will on the bigger sides. But yeah, basically all these side bits I'll manually place vegetation and rocks and that sort of thing in there. Also put some lights probably on the roof of the visitor center to illuminate the sauropods a bit. And then this would literally just be a seating area that's going to overlook the lagoon. Fantasia much. Nothing wrong with Fantasia. So let's put in some... I wish that was a bit shorter. Oh, we use the wood one works. Wood one works. I have no idea what you said there, Alexis, but welcome to the stream. Please delete an Alamo and replace it with another sauropod. Well then, wouldn't we have to delete one of the brackies on the other side? To make it fair? I mean, that's why there are 2 Alamos there, because there was 2 brackies. Unless we don't use the Alamo and use a different sauropod. I have no idea what was said. And I don't have I mean, I suppose we could put Dreadnoughtus in here too. Actually, they kind of work if we angle them correctly. Hang on. Let's, if we put the Alamo a bit more over here. And the Dread, if we put it sort of here, kind of like... Because if you look at the Dread, it's kind of... its head is looking back. So it's kind of as if it's looking backwards at the Alamo. And they are both vocalizing, so I suppose that actually kind of works. Yeah, okay. Good choice, Rob. That definitely actually works. There we go. Don't worry, Atifa. I do have autosave on. You know, it autosaves every 15 minutes. I'm such a slow builder that, like, even if it crashes and I lose 15 minutes of play, generally the park hasn't changed much in that time. So it's not really a big problem. So I'm thinking, let's have a couple of benches down here. Matthias, if you have a question, you kind of need to phrase it to us, because at the moment all I'm seeing is you putting... I'm also going to guess Matthias is not an English speaker. I quite like the idea of having some posher seating here, but I don't know. The ground will not flatten. The undoing of your raptor claw exhibit from another one of your parks made me nervous. Yeah, but I think redoing it, I think it turned out better in the end. So, you know, it wasn't much of a big deal. I like the idea that potentially there's like a restaurant which kind of serves these outdoor tables. So like, it's kind of like an attached seating area to like a posh restaurant that's located inside the the visitor center. I'll tell you what, one thing I would like them to do for the next game is to please come up with some more different shapes for the decorations. It can be a little tiresome having to work around the shapes of some of these decorative pieces. And I just wish we had some, you know, more generally... Like, what shape even is this? Like... It's like an oval with flat ends? Like, so it's like an elliptical, flat-ended shape? Like, why couldn't it just be a rectangle? Like, give us a rectangle, give us a square, give us a circle. That's fine. Then come up with some more, you know, weird and wonderful shapes. Yes, I'm aware that you've put them all in those eras. you've put all those eras in there, but I don't understand why, Matthias. The ability to resize decorations would definitely be a bit of a game changer, actually. Like, that would be one... If Jurassic World Evolution 3 did that, then it would be like... I would low-key be pretty amazed. Yes, Matthias, I know, but I'm questioning why you've put them there in the first place. Like, what is it you're wanting to... Like, you put all the eras of time in there, but why is my question. Is there something specific you wanted to get across? Maybe these? I think that works. I think that works. Are we going to get to the lagoon? Look how big this is. The actual lagoon itself is probably going to be like a whole stream of itself. It's why this stream was called Starting on the Lagoon. Like, we had to really kind of get a full grasp on this and like start getting ideas where stuff is going to go. Would you put statues in the lagoon? So I actually had a thought about the lagoon. And my thought was to use... Where are they? Some of Evo's Japanese mod buildings, especially the giant pagoda, in the lagoon as decoration. Just as like a fun little decorative flair. I do want there to be like an island in the middle, which we're going to create with just the... I mean, I'll put it in there now, so might as well. So the middle is roughly here. So let's do like 1, 2... that one was in a bad place, wasn't it? Hang on a minute. Okay, if I use... So the middle is like there. I'm going to put my finger literally there on the screen. And then I can put it in like the dead center. Okay, so that's like the dead center. And then I was thinking of like having sort of like cross-like affair. And yeah, and then decorating the inside of the lagoon with some Japanese bits, having some... Ooh. I've suddenly gotten an idea. What if... We'll obviously have to put some rocks under them. Like under the pillars. But I actually really like this idea. And then we just found, like, if we put this one sort of that way round. And then, yeah, this one there. Then that one there. This one. Oh! I hate it when it does that. Like, only you press to put it down, and like it's like, oh, I've got to then play that stupid animation with the stuff. There we go. Yeah. I like that. We could still put like what do we think? Do you think we should like have the big archway here, or like the big pagoda? The pagoda doesn't really fit very well. I like the idea of having like the Tory arch. Like one there and like. How does it look if we like try to interconnect them? You know, I don't hate that. But I do think we need to adjust the positioning. Which might mean I have to come back and delete them and try again. But yeah, something like that. I think that looks really good. And then we can like decorate each of these rocks with vegetation. If we are having like Chronosaurus and Megalodon in here, we can put like the shark feeders, attach them to these rocks. And we'll get some really good views of them going underneath these bridges and stuff. I think that's a really cool idea. And then we can still put like the pagodas under the water. I might even like put, I might go a bit weirder with it. I might like try and put, shrink one of these pyramids down. Like we've got a few pyramids. Like we got some of these like smaller Inca pyramids. So I might try and shrink one or two of these down and bury them like in the ground. Maybe have a old galleon. Like properly create some interesting features in this lagoon. Because I want to really go all out. Maybe have like some boats on the water. Go for some proper sort of monster movie theming for the lagoon animals. I think that would be really cool. Actually, I forgot where I'm actually going to overrun this stream because of messing up at the start. So you know what we'll do is let's decide now what animals we're actually going to have in here. So the initial thought was to have Chrono and Megalodon in here together. Do people think that'll still be good? Melissa says yeah. I'm actually going to take a quick screenshot of this for Evo. Evo really loved the idea I said in the video that I did the other day, last week actually, or this week as it is now, of like using the little bridges with the fountains. She really loved that idea. Chrono and Shoni. Sure, it doesn't. So we're not necessarily going with Asian animals or like an Asian feel. It's more of like a monster movie feel, which I feel like the Megalodon and Chrono are definitely more monster movie than and I haven't actually built a park fully completed with Meg in it, and I really should. But yeah, I think Megalodon and Chrono. I think the lagoon is large enough that maybe if we had like 3 Meg and 3 Chrono, I think it wouldn't be too overly full. I mean, let us just have a look. Yeah, like a single Meg is it's gonna look so cool going under those bridges. So yeah, 3 Megs is not gonna take up much room, and where the bloody hell is... Am I just blind? Or is Chrono not on here? Oh no, there it is. And yeah, 3 Chronos is definitely not going to be too many. I mean, it might even let us have room for a Dunkleosteus or 2. So yeah. Okay, so we will go with Chrono, and Megalodon. Right, let's save here. Spiffing. I'm going to check that saved correctly. Did. Before we go, I'm going to take a quick few screenshots, because I think this area is turning out really lovely, and it's nice to have some screen caps ready for, you know, the next streams that we do. Oof, those light rays. Actually, so there was one review I looked at the other day where someone said he couldn't tell the difference between Jurassic World Evolution 1 and Jurassic World Evolution 2 graphically. And I was like, are you blind? It's night and day, dude. Night and day. Right. Screenshots taken. Let's go back to Species Viewer. Let's find some skins. Again, I'm going to say, because this is like monster movie, I'm going to say let's not necessarily go male and female skins. Let's just pick some skins that look good, for want of a better term. Lucky that we picked 2 animals that have really good skins. I think Chrono has really good skins. I think Meg has really good skins. Right, let's start with Meg, shall we? So obviously there are some really good colors, some really basically good colors. The mangrove forest is really good. Sonoran desert is really good. I really like Great Sandy Desert. I mean, I think if we're going to have the Meg, I think we have to have the tiger stripes. So kind of like Sonoran Desert and Caucarana is kind of... It has to be. Like, one of them has to be that one. I'm quite a fan of... Was it that? Was it that one? I think it was that one. Yeah, because that's basically kind of like a whale shark. Although I have to say, I kind of like the... Is there like a really yellow skin? There isn't like a really, really yellow skin? Because I was thinking, like, if there was like a bright yellow, it would work quite well as like a blue-ringed octopus. I do kind of like... I like the chocolate honeycomb. That looks quite good, actually. What does that look like with other colours? Honestly, I think that looks really good. Let's go with a Gambia river basin, river basin, and a lithobates. And I really want to use this green and blue spots because obviously we're going to have lots of kelp and stuff in here, so I think it really suits a kelpy kind of shark. It doesn't really work on many of them. It looks quite good on Salar del Huasco, I think. What do you guys think? So I want each one to look very visually distinctive. So we've got like a dark red and spotted brown one. We've got an orange and black striped one. And then I think like a green with green like kelp seaweed effect on it. I think looks really good. So Salar del Huasco and Apurana. I think they'll work quite well together. And Chrono was the other one, wasn't it? Chrono. Right. I think if we're going to have a Chrono, we have to start off with having supersized Liplorodon Chrono. It's kind of like the default one that you should definitely have. So Yukon River. And Papurana. That's our walking with dinosaurs. Now, there is another one I really like. Which was, I think... It was... the turmeric one, where you go with the yellow on the belly and the yellow on the top. The problem is we've already got like a black one in the form of like the walking with dinosaurs one. It's not going to look that visually distinctive, so I think we'll leave out that one. It's quite a nice yellow. What colours could we put on there? That's kind of okay, but again, I think it's a bit boring. That's kind of nice. I think that kind of works. Gambia River Basin and Pelophylax. I do want to use that. I want to use the yellow stripe somewhere. Gotta find one where the yellow stripes work. Maybe the red. They work on the red, don't they? And we don't have... I mean, I suppose we have the orange Megalodon, but we don't have one that's like... Oh no, we have an orange and a deep red one. The Megalodons are orange, deep red, and green. And so far, with these guys, we've got black, blue, I suppose we should probably have one in white, because we don't have a white, or a white or yellow. You know, the white and the green, I don't hate it. It's a bit simple, but... I mean, the white and the yellow works quite nicely too. Or do we go with like a brown? Browny yellow. It works with the white stripes, so we've already got a white striped. I think we'll go with the white and the green. It's so kind of monster movie-ish, I think. Svalbard and lithobates. Like, I love the Amazon rainforest coloration, but I think it would look a bit too similar to the Meg Salar del Huasco. So, and the mangrove forest one is just basically a lighter version of Killian Mountains. Like, if you're doing male and female chronos, Killian Mountains, mangrove forest are basically your male and females. I do really love that green. Looks so good with the white. That looks really good. Screw it. Instead of Svalbard and lithobates, we'll have Chaplin Valley and Papurana. It looks too good not to have. No worries, Berenson, we were about to stop anyway. I was only going a little bit longer because of the late start to the stream. I was just getting us some creatures ready for the next stream. I'm just going to save this. So let's save this in for next stream. So that'll be what we're doing next stream. Basically, is continuing with the lagoon. Actually, when is next stream? Next stream is Friday. Actually, it'll probably be the next Sunday stream. On Friday, I might play something different, just so I don't get burned out with JWE2 at the very beginning of the year. Because we've had like three or four streams of this in a row now. So yeah, on Friday I might play something different, but next Sunday we'll come back to this park, or the Arizona park, and put the lagoon species in. It gives me time also to do a bit of homework on the park to get it looking a bit better. But yeah, Friday, I don't know, I might do the Isle actually on Friday. We'll see. See what mood I'm in. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been a very active, very busy stream. Thank you guys for your opinions on the questions I was asking earlier on. Don't forget to like the video if you haven't already subscribed, if you're new to the channel, because we hit 2,700 subs today, which is nice. I'm really hoping we can get to 3,000 quickly. I would like to end the year on more than 3. So yeah, every little helps with the algorithm. And yeah, if you haven't joined the Discord, please consider doing so, because, you know, I'm sometimes live in the Discord chat, and it's slowly becoming a little bit more active, which is nice. But yeah, for now, I will see the rest of you guys on Wednesday for Fallout stream, and there's a video on Wednesday too, which should be an interesting one. And yeah, until then, wherever you are, enjoy the rest of your Sunday evenings. Stay safe, and good night.